Now, covering every county, this is your statewide newscast. Arkansas Today.
We are now and will forever be one American family, united by patriotism, bound by destiny, and sustained by the faith of Almighty God.
Good afternoon. I'm Mallory Brooks. Thanks for watching Arkansas Today on this Wednesday, September 11th. It has been 18 years since the September 11th terrorist attacks changed the nation forever. Today, Americans from coast to coast will pause for solemn ceremonies to remember those who were killed. NBC's Chris Pallone has more.
It is a stark reminder that even 18 years later, the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001 continue to unfold. 22 new names have been added to the New York City Fire Department's 9/11 memorial, victims who succumbed in the past year to diseases they got after being exposed to toxic chemicals in the World Trade Center rubble.
We have 3 right now that are in hospice. We have numerous others that are in critical condition.
Recognizing that the horrors of September 11 didn't end that day, Manhattan's 9/11 Memorial dedicated a new section in May to those who died and those who will die from 9/11 related diseases. It's called the Memorial Glade. It has 6 giant stone monoliths with steel from the Twin Towers pointing skyward, roughly outlining the ramp that first responders walked for months into the smoldering rubble of Ground Zero.
We're soon going to lose more people post 9/11 than that was murdered on 9/11.
More of these men and women are going to get sick and they are going to die.
If there is good news, it's that after widespread public pressure, Congress and the President recently extended the compensation fund which supports first responders whose tireless work at the Pentagon and in New York in the days following 9/11 might ultimately kill them. Americans vowed they never forget the victims. 18 years later, there are more victims than ever to remember. Chris Pallone, NBC News, New York.
And in New York, family and friends reading the names of all 3,000 9/11 victims with 6 moments of silence. In Pennsylvania, Vice President Mike Pence is speaking at the Flight 93 Memorial. One of the most moving and awe-inspiring tributes to the 9/11 victims returns this year. It's called A Tribute in Light. Twin blue beams of light will shoot skyward from sundown tonight until sunrise tomorrow. Back here at home, authorities are investigating a possible arson at a Farmington dentist office. Police say an employee of a nearby business reported smoke coming from River Dental around 11:20 last night. River Dental's office manager, Mary Wilson, says rather than taking items, whoever is responsible just left a big mess.
Total mess. I mean, we have a lot of water damage, smoke damage. It's bad.
We did have some nitrogen in there that we had to be careful about, but if it had gone much longer, we would have had a large explosion. If we'd been on the scene, it would have been a bad situation.
This remains an ongoing investigation. U.S. Congressman Steve Womack is demanding an investigation into the Fayetteville VA following the misconduct of a former pathologist. Womack testified before the House Committee on Veterans Affairs this week on the need for increased accountability and transparency at the VA. He spoke at length about the allegations against Dr. Robert Levy, the former chief of pathology at the Fayetteville VA, found to be impaired on the job. He was recently indicted on 31 federal charges, including manslaughter. Womack questioned the choices made by VA leadership.
I will never understand why the VA returned Mr. Levy to duty as a supervisor without putting necessary safeguards in place to ensure that his work was properly reviewed. At the very least, an independent review process should have been set up to allow his subordinates to submit their reviews outside the usual chain of command.
Following Womack's speech, committee members said they would pursue the investigation. We reached out to the Fayetteville VA and they provided us with this statement, quote, Veterans Healthcare System of the Ozarks used all legal measures in its control to fire this individual as quickly as possible. When he was found to be unsafe to work, VHSO acted quickly to remove him from clinical care, revoked his clinical privileges, and initiated an administration and clinical review process, end quote. Harrison police had their hands full after 2 pipe bomb scares in 2 weeks in the city. One was found during a traffic stop on August 20th. Police had to call in the Bentonville bomb squad to figure out what was inside. The second found at the local skate park on September 1st. Thankfully, both of them turned out to be false alarms.
They noticed this device in the vehicle. It was a PVC pipe that actually had a fuse coming out the one end of it. It was black powder in there with a fuse, but there was no shrapnel. If they had put any type of shrapnel in there, I mean, it would have caused damage.
The last time Harrison police had to deal with a real pipe bomb was back in 2012. The department also had a scare last year at Mini Harris Park, and the bomb squad came in and destroyed that device. Former Razorback star quarterback and NFL free agent Ryan Mallett has been arrested for being under suspicion of driving while intoxicated. Police say they arrested him last night in Springdale. An arrest report shows his blood alcohol content was .08. Well, today in 40 cemeteries across the country, people are remembering and honoring those that lost their lives on 9/11. Through the nonprofit Carry the Load, they've gathered volunteers to help clean up cemeteries in the areas of those killed 18 years ago. And as we go to break on this Wednesday, September 11th, 18 years after the horrific attacks, we take a moment of silence to remember the fallen.